Hello everyone, Yokoso, and welcome to another podcast. It's a mini review of a whole manufacturer, and today we'll be talking about the Nissan range. So I've compiled some homework that I've been meaning to do that I haven't been doing, that I have been doing. And so hopefully you like what I have to offer with everyone. Give me a moment, I just got to do R2 Simulator in Monster Hunter, just because you get some really cool items from the R2 Simulator. Steamworks, King Armosphere, there's nothing really I want. Cool! Set on the way. Awesome! Hello everyone! So Nate Dog, welcome back. Everyone, Aaron Mace, Chan Kin, bunch of other people, Yuzuni, hello, welcome. Sydney WMT, I have subscribed to you. I did see that Snova video, and holy crap, that was very brutal to watch. Very brutal indeed. As always, if you can like, subscribe, share, do all the rest of it, help me out, it would be much appreciated, because organic growth is no longer a thing, and I need all your helps to become the next DXMT. Alright guys, now, Nath Star Dog, or Nath Dog, or Nut Hair Dog. I don't know how you want it to pronounce, but I have tried to pronounce it as best as I could. Alright guys, so I've done a bit of looking around for what I can get to talk about in terms of the Nissan series. Now, as we go through the appearing models, I'll talk about them as they appear on the MaxiTune website. So wanganmaxi-official.com, and let's go through the list. So at the moment, so first things first, the GTR35 Skyline, as a new contender for the game, when it came back, or when it came into the game way back when, it was one of the best cars for time attack. But otherwise, as the game progressed, it became very well known as a set and forget car. Once you full tune it, there's nothing really you need to do. But considering that it's probably the best car in the game for top speed, it's one of those cars that is consistently good. It's got a 3.8 liter V6 twin turbo. It's acceleration and top speed are absolutely crazy, and it handles pretty well as well. So it's one of the better cars in the Nissan range. Then we've got the Nissan GTR 32 Skyline. So the R34 Skyline. Comes with a 2.6 inline 6 twin turbo. This is also known as the Igor machine. One of the better cars in the game, probably 1.5 tier. It's big, it's tanky, it's weighted, but don't let that fool you. Its handling in the game is actually quite astounding. It's it's definitely no car to scoff over. If you see a 34 Skyline, you got to be very wary, because it can hurt. It can push you from behind. It can block you from the front. The only thing that it doesn't have to its advantage is its size, where you can exploit against it or even exploit with it. Even if you find yourself being followed by people, you can truck yourself, and people will just ram into the back of you because there's nowhere to go. But otherwise, a really great contender for a Nissan pick. Afterwards, we've got the Nissan Skyline 33, the GTR 33. Another great car, but it suffers from terrible handling. It's also a 5-speed, which doesn't do it any justice. For people, or for the meta currently. The meta is currently for 6 gears. But, surprisingly, has better top speed than the R34. It does, however, feel like a boat around corners. For enthusiasts, definitely a great car to get. However, don't expect miracles as it's probably a tier 2 car. Yeah, it's probably a tier 2 car. I classify it as a shit tier battler, but that's just me. Hello, Ryan. I am just talking about the 33.
33?
So
the worst GTR in the game?
Oh, no. Take that back. Jump on my stream, because there will be statistics behind this. So, at the moment, I'm just going through the cars in the Nissan range, and just talking a bit about them. So the next car on the list is the R32. Arguably the best Skyline in the game. Its weight is great, its handling is great, its top speed is great. It's a 5 gear, which doesn't suit the meta, but that can be very, very much overlooked with the fact that it's such an amazing car. It definitely does itself a lot of justice no matter where it goes, and it holds itself up as probably the battle car of MaxiTune 6. Arguably the battle car, overtaking the Evo 9.
To be fair, your review on the R32 is still relevant. That's how much of like a good car it is. It's still like
irrelevant or relevant?
It's relevant.
Am I an irrelevant streamer?
No.
No, I'm not relevant.
No, the review you made is still accurate to this day. If not, the R32 has gotten a little bit better.
Yeah, well, which is scary because it's already such a great car to begin with.
Yeah.
Hello, Kevin. How are ya? Oh, no, Kevin's muted himself. Sure. So next we've got the Skyline GTR, the KPG C10. So this was the original Skyline that Nissan debuted. It's a 5-speed with a 2.0 litre inline 6. Eventually you can put a turbo, but it came out as an NA. When this got released, I think a 3DX, it was a disgusting car. It was weighted well, it handled well, it was one of the cars that was pre-32, before the R32 really picked up. It was a great car, and then Maximum Tune 3DX Plus got put in, and then it wasn't that great. And then in Maximum Tune 4 onwards, it's not an amazing car. Definitely a shit tier battler, and I believe that they sort of realized that, hey, this car may be a little bit too good, let's nerf it a bit. So it's now in the tier 2 pile, unfortunately. So, but I've driven the car in 3DX and 3DX Plus, and I didn't feel that it wasn't too bad. However, only pick it if you really want it. That's my.
Actually, I bought one from Andy. It was a rename one.
Yeah.
It had like a white meter, like one of those really rare hacked versions. And to be fair, the contact with blocking is actually alright, which is probably like its best like trait in MT6 is the fact it can block really well.
Oh, cool. Well, I'll probably need to grab it and give it my own test run to double check, but that's not what this is for. This is just about a brief overview for the Nissans. So now we've got the S15 Silvia Spec R. So 2 litre inline 4 turbo, much to what the inline 4 turbos are about. High acceleration, meh top speed, but the S15, yes, it is a slippery boy, and the S15 is one of those cars where it borders, you're sliding around corners and it feels like you're not doing anything, but it is an amazing car that you should not discount because it slides. It ice skates around corners and does really well. I thought this thing was a piece of shit, but it's pretty good. So that's the S15. The 180SX Type R, so the RPS S13, I'll say RPS 13, a car that really is one of the OG cars that I feel in the initial D series. I feel also that, I don't know, Ryan, what would you say?
Well, from what I've known, I've seen people battle this car. It's a very average car, so it's got nothing that gives it a big edge, and nothing that gives it a big downfall. it's just a very standard, like, yeah, it's just a really standard car. Like, we're like,
Yeah, look,
yeah,
it-
there's nothing bad, there's nothing good. It's just one of
yeah,
those
it
cars.
doesn't excel in amazing areas. You could probably say it's the FC of the group. It is just outshone. Other things shine better than this. But that being said, I mean, it's a great collector car. It's definitely not going to let you down, but it's definitely not going to put, an advantage on you. It will put a smile on your face just because it's such a great car to have, and it just handles very well. But you can also feel why this car wasn't an amazing car to begin with. So next we've got the Fairlady Z version ST, otherwise known as the Z34. When this car got released, it was considered the best Wangan time attack machine, period. Now, this was before the GTR 35 was released, but when it was released, it was considered an absolute god for straight line. It had decent handling, but what really made this car shine was the fact that it was just so quick in a straight line that, like, it was just blitzing. I can't explain when it was released how this car, like, made you feel. It was a different brand of speed. Taking into today though, Maximum Tune 6, it's now like the younger brother of the R35. It's just neglected. It's like, it's the kid that you put in the corner that you say, shh, don't talk. Like, you're here to be, you're here just to observe. And unfortunately, I don't really see too many Z34 drivers. They're very few. I think with how do I say this? I think when MaxiTune 4 stopped the card transfer service, it really killed a lot of potential for people to bring over the Z34 because there's no room for it at all. It's positioned in the game very poorly because the Skylines do it better, and that's all it really had. So only like it's great, but it's not great at the same time. There are just better alternatives. Similarly, the next car is the Fairlady Z version S, the Z33, a worse version of the Z34. It's literally a dome with an engine. Not much to say about it. It's very slidey, similar to the S15, and very quick, similar to the Z34, but inferior in both ways. So only get it if you really like it. Next, we've got the Z32, the Fairlady Z300ZX. So this car, again, is another step under the Z33, in my opinion. Although Steven Snook would say it's great. It's a great car. It's a great car. Slidey. It's probably like an inferior R32, but fatter. So again, it's one of those cars that you get purely to full tune and put away. If you're an advert maxi tuner or you want a shit tier car, the Z32 is one of those cars that no one has, and if you play with it, you'll probably be known as the Z32 guy if you start meeting it, because literally no one plays this car. So show it some love, guys. Like it needs some love. So then we've got Steven, the Steven Snook Mythstar mobile, the Fairlady Z300ZX, the Z31. Surprisingly, Myth has carried this car and its legacy all throughout the series. He's picked this car single-handedly, and like later on you'll see why. Single-handedly, this car is a piece of shit that someone good has picked up and gone, I'm going to make this the best thing that it can ever be. And it just shows that no matter what car you pick, so long as you have the skill to grow and to come with it and through the journey, it can be a good machine. It's not all about what the car does in performance. It's about how you adapt and make the car the best version of itself. So that's the Z31. Next we've got the Fairlady ZS30, which is like the highlight of MaxiTune 6, because otherwise we wouldn't have a MaxiTune at all. Really nothing I can say other than this car is amazing in every way, and is literally an R32 clone, just a little bit worse. It's a 5-speed, 2-liter inline 6 naturally aspired, has really good acceleration, really good top speed, really good handling. Between the two, between the R32 and this car, the R32 is slightly better, just because it's being used more. And I don't think a lot of people have tapped into what is the S30's power. That being said, it's probably a great addition to anyone's arsenal that cannot be overlooked. It's heavy, it handles well, and it accelerates well. That's all I can really say about it. It's a great car.
It's always been compared to a go-kart. It's just a grippy boy, very lightweight. It's rear-wheel drive compared to four-wheel drive. It has a...
Which one? Which car?
The S30.
A go-kart?
S30 is still fucking good, bro.
S30.
Yeah. Actually, well, I wouldn't say it's a go-kart, because I'd say like the MX-5's a go-kart. This is more like a... How would I say? Like a motorbike.
Lawnmower. Oh.
Like a motorbike. Like, it's zippy, it's quick, but it's not like an amazing machine. It does have its flaws. So next we've got the Stagia Ortec version 260RS, the WGN C34. Has the same engine as an R34. It's just the wagon version. Steven will say this is amazing. I honestly think it's also pretty good. It's one of those cars that you pick and go, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Don't know why people aren't using this car, because, you know, it's a pretty decent car.
They're just afraid of not being able to see the roof line.
Well, there's that. But also it's a pretty long boy, and it's a wide boy, so it's hard to see the front of your car. That being said, as a casual car, this has amazing potential, and I think the more people that use this car, the more screen time and play time that it will get, because people will start realizing that this is a great car, period. It's better than the Z series, but besides the S30, it's a good casual car. Good casual car. Next we've got the Skyline Coupe 370 GT Type S, the CKV36. There's not a lot I can say about this car because I've never used it. So what I am going to say is it looks terrible, and it is terrible. So
Yeah,
it should look, but it is as bad as it looks. Then we've got the David Meow machine, which is the Skyline RSX, the R30, made famous by David Meow himself. There's not a lot I can say about this car other than, again, it's another car that someone has carried a legacy through, where David Meow has picked this car up and has become an absolute battle monster with it, and a great indicator of a good person or a person with skill picking a car and going, you know what, fuck the meta, this is what I'm going to main, and that's just it.
Wait, isn't that the same with Alan? Because Alan's using a GVB.
Alan's not good.
Alan's just like,
He's made a legacy of the GVB, but the GVB is not good. But that being said, I'll go through
Alan's not that good as well.
Well, look, I'll go through that data when I come to the Subarus in a later stream. But yeah, I'm all about being data driven. So in time, we'll see. But again, the GVB is not the worst WRX, and I'll be able to prove that to you. Next, we've got the Fuga 370 GT Type S, otherwise the KY51. Stephen will also say this car is great. Yeah, there's not a lot I can say about this car other than it's big and it likes to rev, but it's terrible. It looks...
It's a Nissan Crown.
Isn't this the car with the Aston Martin body kit?
No, the Aston Martin kit comes from the Skyline 370 GT.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, this car's terrible. It should feel bad because it looks bad. Next, we've got the Gloria Gran Turismo Ultima, the Y33. Haven't had the opportunity to use this car, so I'm not going to really say too much about it, other than it's an FR 4-speed. So, interesting. 4-speeds are coming across this game. Got nothing to say about it. Haven't used it. Hi?
It's a VIP type of car, so it's supposed to rival the Celsior.
Oh, well then, the Celsior rival. There we go. The L'Oreal Club S, so the L'Oreal 25 Club S Turbo Type X. Now, I believe that this is the car that was given out for free, or am I wrong?
No.
No, that's the leopard. That's the leopard. Anyways, I don't know anything about this car. It doesn't look too bad, but it's also a 4-speed, so I'm going to give it the benefit of a doubt.
Gloria, right?
Hey?
No. It's the
Is this
Laurel.
Gloria?
No, that's
Oh, Laurel.
the Laurel.
Yeah.
The Laurel. The Laurel.
The Yanni or the Laurel?
The Laurel.
Yanni.
Hey, about the Laurel.
Yes.
Yanni.
I felt like it's like a 4-speed R33.
Yeah.
It has the same acceleration and engine of the R32, so it's going to be like high revving, like high mid-range acceleration. So the engine feels really good.
Cool. Well, I'm going to have to get this car given to me somehow, but, you know. Anyways, so let's go on to what I have in terms of data behind it. So hopefully everyone can see the graphs that have been provided that I've been able to rip. Let's just chuck that there. I'll chuck it up because you can't see a bit of that. Yep.
Wait, can you post the graph onto Discord?
Let's see. Sorry, guys. Cars, Nissans. Cool.
Oh.
So,
See one out.
okay. So I've picked a graph, and I've gone, okay, let's get the data behind it, and let's just see how each of these cars do. And obviously, each car has its own specific traits, but before I continue on, I need to say a couple of words about these. These are time attacks that people have done. So obviously, a time attack is of someone doing a car's time. If a car hasn't been done, it will not have... if a car hasn't been done, or simply it's an outlier in the graph, it won't be considered, and it will have like a no indicator, which means that for that range, it just didn't fall into it. It fell out of that range and is obviously really terrible. For this to get better, or for your car or any car to be featured, people have to do time attacks to make it better. So for argument's sake, if people decided to pick the Skyline 370 to make its time better, or the Fuga 370, this will update according to how many people do time attacks and the best time attack out of that. So this, as of today, is what the C1 out best time looks for each car. Now, as you can see that there's a best time, and that's usually like an RX-7 or a 35, and then it will compare it to everything else. So the great thing here is that you can see that the 35 and the 32 do really, really well, but also the Z30, the S30 is right behind it in a top 3. So it goes 32, 35, and S30, and then you can see the rest of the Nissan range being put out there. And what's surprising is that the Fuga is the Fuga is the worst performing out of all of these in C1 out. So that's a really good indication of handling and acceleration. Not so much top speed, but you could probably say cornering speed with the whole thing. So the 33 is not that great and is probably the worst of all the Skylines. What else is there? There's the Z31. Again, so the Z31 is just off the S30's pace. And it's just equal or better than the Z34. So, again, another notification there that a car is as good as its driver. If we look at where is the... That's the Skyline, it's the Leopard, that's the Stager. Yeah, I'm looking for the David Meow. The David Meow machine is better than a lot of other machines. Although surprisingly, the Leopard does better than the David Meow machine, so I don't know how that became, but it just did. So there's a good indicator of corner speed, acceleration, and general overall handling. So
the Leopard's actually fucking good.
Yeah. Well, clearly, that shows it. So next we've got the Hakone inbound time attack, and you can see that the best time there is, like, disgustingly good, right? The R32 and surprisingly the Sylvia Spec RS15 are the two best Nissans in the Hakone Time Attack. That I would have never guessed. Then follows the Z31. Oh, sorry, S30, then the Z31. You can tell that the R35, R34, and R33s don't do well in Hakone, obviously because how wide they are and how not amazing they handle, but they do pretty decent comparatively to the rest of the Nissans. Also, if you notice that the S13 and the GC35 don't have times, and that's because they were just really bad or no one were doing their times at all. So, again, missing data that people probably need to fill in. But otherwise, there's a good representation of quartering speed and exit speeds over acceleration there. And how the fuck is the R33 better than the R34? I don't know. Just is. Maybe Igor hasn't done the time attack for it. So next we have the Hakone Outbound. And here's where like the R34 and the R33 really show a difference. But also the R32 is just superior to all other Nissans in every way. Right? So it is almost a second beyond everything else. The Fairlady S30 and the Z31 just are the next best things. And the S130 also does very well. Yeah, there's really not much I can really say about that, other than, you know, the Z33 is not overly used, the Z34 is used, and the Z32 has outliers because it probably hasn't shown enough love. Again, a lot of the times that are outside of like the top 5 or top 10 of a series is because they're probably just not used. So, you know, obviously the S13 doesn't have a time. Does it? No, it does have a time, but it's not amazing. The CKV36 doesn't have a time because maybe Steven Snook hasn't actually had a chance to do its time attack. I don't know. The Y33 and the GC35, again, are outside of the scope, so they're not going to show. So again, with the data, it requires people to put a bit of time into cars, to learn the cars, and to get them better. But obviously from this data here that we're showing you, the 32 is an amazing choice. That being said, it may not be your best choice, and it's also probably like one of the better people using this car for a time attack purpose. But, you know, these are all things that show potential. Next, we have the Osaka time attack. Now, you can clearly see that the 32, 34, and 35 are very close together, and the S30 also puts in a lot of effort in that as well, under the 227.5 mark. What does this mean? It means that they're pretty damn close to the best time. You know, do you guys, Ryan, Kevin, do you have anything to add, like with the last time attacks, or do you want me to go back to them, or?
I mean, like, the only thing I have to say is, like, this is just for international server, right? It's not Japan.
No, not Japan. Yeah, but we can't compare. We can't compare international server to Japan server because there is a physics difference. So, whether that physics difference is from the actual gameplay, or whether it's the hardware making it different, or any of the settings within the machines, it's not palatable, or it's not comparable for us to consider to include those time attacks because they're just not using the same systems as we are. It's like comparing WRXs here to WRXs over there. Like, they have a higher rev limit, they also have different emission schemes, they also have different rules and regulations and fuel settings. So a Rex here is going to be very different to a Rex over there.
Yeah, the only complaint or like small change you could have made to like, because like most of the times you're not going to have like, you're going to have like casuals or like, you know, kids watching the stream or whatever, like people who aren't really like top tier. In the fact that like when you have like your time attacks and you have them in seconds, people can get confused from the seconds rather than like saying 249 C1 out or whatever, and you have like seconds, people can just get confused.
What do you mean?
Because people don't measure like TA by seconds; it's by minutes and seconds.
Oh no, yeah, that I'm not.
Like
I'm not.
225.
I'm not looking at. I'm not looking. That there is just a guide to what is the best. But what this is aiming to represent is the potential of a car, not to illustrate anything other than that. So the potential of the R32 is quite closely parallel to the best time attack point of the whole of Osaka time attack. If that makes sense. I'm not looking at like the time attack time specifically. It's just more about how close does the R32 get to the best time versus how close does this 370 Skyline Coupe get to that. So the 370 Type S gets pretty far out to the best time. So on a graph, you can then go, there's a massive difference. Although it doesn't look like a lot of difference to like a Pro, a couple of seconds or at least a couple of milliseconds, as you'll see in the next couple of graphs, mean a hell of a lot in terms of potential, especially on Wangan TA, where 0.1 of a second is a significant buffer. But yeah, I could just hide those.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, I can just hide those, but yeah, it's just more about illustrating the potential of a car. So the R30 Skyline, for argument's sake, David Meow has probably done the time attack for Osaka, and you can definitely see there's a marked difference between, you know, the R30 Skyline and the best time, which is probably a Countach or RX-7 or something. But yeah, but it's aiming to show the potential of the car, but also aiming to show where cars can be improved. So now we've got the Wangan East time attack, and obviously the GTR 35 is the best of the Wangan East time attacks. And it's there by a significant margin. The next best thing is the Z34. So when we talk about the Z34 being the previous king of Wangan, we actually mean it was the previous king of Wangan. It did really well until the 35 showed up and was like, oh, well, I'm just going to be better in every way that you couldn't. Another surprising thing here is the Skyline Coupe 370 Type S is the next best thing, very close to the Z33. And it beats both R34 and R33. So, in terms of top speed and top speed hold, it shows a significant stat to say that on straight lines, these cars are amazing. Like, you'd be very, very, very shocked to be outrun by... Oh, you'd be shocked not to catch up in these cars. One thing that really did get... that really stood out was that the Z33 and the Z34 were pretty... They were good. Like, these times are good. I'm surprised the 34's not in there, and the 33's not in there as well, being pretty close to the R35. That sort of worries me a little bit, considering that they also have better top speeds. But also it could just be that people haven't been doing the Wangan time attack. So, you know, maybe John Lee needs to put these on the table.
Does John Lee do East or West only?
Well, I'm not too sure, but we have the Wangan West. So surprisingly, Wangan West hasn't been done by Stephen Snook. So Stephen, if you're listening, do a Wangan West TA, please. So again, Wangan West, the Skyline 35 takes it out, and the Z34 is pretty close behind. So these two cars dominate the highway in terms of absolute straight line speed. What that means is, in a straight line, that they're going to hold their top speed most, but also that their acceleration is also pretty good as well. The 33 in this instance shows up pretty well, and that's not an unsurprising thing, because the R33 holds its top speed better than the 34, although the 34 is considered better because of its handling. The 370 GT Skyline Coupe does also better than what I thought it would be, and then the rest of the Nissan series just drops off. Come on, guys. Akuma! No, my dog's gone. Kevin, do you have anything, or Ryan, do you have anything you want to add?
Well, more or less just just a comment on the way you've graphed this out. It did seem like if you take your time to read the chart, it's understandable. It's like the lower the dot on the chart, that means the more faster it was on the TA.
That's right.
But it was quite difficult to read it. I think it would be better if it can make it easier if it was sorted like by like maybe an exponential curve of what times were the fastest, and like just let the cars that classify it like shift by its own.
Yeah, I could. Well, the only reason why I did it this way is because that's how they appeared on the time attack sort of ranking thing. But I could probably make amended versions later on. Definitely, it's something I could do, which is not going to be hard. It just takes an extra couple of clicks. And to my dog.
Yeah,
oh wait.
graphs are a very good idea to show the differences. It's just that at this current style is a bit too difficult to read. I think the graph line can just be swapped. And
it'll just be an exponential curve. Yeah, cool. I'll take that on. So that'll be featured in the next one. And what's that? And that just goes back to see it one time. So, and that would be heaps better to see from best to worst in terms of each of the two. So yeah, I mean, in terms of Nissan, generally as an overall manufacturer, they make the best time attack and straight line cars, right? Period. That being said, there's only really a handful of Nissans that people would consider, but that shouldn't never be discounted. The S15 itself is one of those cars that it just, once you start understanding how it works, it's an absolute beast. And it's just getting used to that particular car that really highlights the importance of having a good driver. Hell, even the Z31, with Steven carrying that legacy, it just also illustrates and highlights that it's all about the driver and not the car. So the main point behind this is that whilst these graphs can indicate and show you the potential of the car, these graphs only show the absolute potential. That is the best of the best driving these cars. And the difference is, 2 to 3 seconds at most. But what it should come across is that when you're picking a car, it's not all about stats. It's all about how you feel in the car. It's all about the potential that car gives you. The great example, the GDBC, I hate this car. Hate it with an absolute passion. It's not the car for me. But Jack White mains this car and does very well in it. Does amazing time attacks and is grown through with this car. Kevin, that's on stream, plays the Celsior. Again, I hate this car, but it works for Kevin. Kevin loves it. Kevin does very well. Ryan, illegitimate.
I use Evo 10.
Ryan, illegitimate. Uses Evo 10.
My first car was Evo 10. It's double S rank.
It's illegitimate, but he's now a triple S. Penta S holder.
Yeah.
So the main point about this is just a general overview of the car at its absolute best, but don't think it's going to win you games. Think of it as it has a strength, you should exploit this strength. But also, if you're versing cars like the R32, you know that there's very, very, very few weaknesses. But once you find that weakness, you need to exploit it. The R34 and the R35, their weaknesses are weight and how big the car is. So you can almost predict that they're not going to go through smaller gaps and they're going to hit a lot of traffic. Whereas cars like, I don't know, let's take the S30, are more likely to go through traffic, so you can predict its lines and if it's going to go through traffic or not. All of these little pieces of information in a battle give you subtle clues that you need to act upon in order to maximize how well you do in a battle. Because your line that you choose and their line that they choose are very dependent on each other. If you know that someone's going to not go through a gap of two cars, and you can create an opportunity to go through those cars and pass using them as a shield, then that's an extra card that you have against them. Considerably, and on the flip side, if you know that another car is going to go through a gap of a truck and a wall, you can hit that truck to the wall and box that person in and cause them to stop. All of these little pieces of information are things that everyone needs to consider when they're battling. So for something like the Fuga 370, there is no chance you're getting through two trucks or a truck and a wall on Osaka. It just is very difficult. But if you pull it off, it's high risk, high reward. Whereas someone in the S30, it's almost a given that you're going to get through, but almost a given that people are going to try to push that truck into you as well. So yeah, general comments about Nissan. Great cars. Needs a bit more love compared to the Mitsubishis and the Mazdas. But definitely pick one up. I mean, the Fairlady S130 does considerably well. The S30 is an amazing machine. The Z31's, I'm going to regret saying this, but pretty good. Z34 is a dead car, but one of those cars that when busted out and used right is very difficult to deal with because it's so bloody big and it's like a Hulk. It just comes in, picks you up and throws you in against a corner and it just goes, you know what? Deal with it. So yeah, that's the Nissan review at the stage. Very short and sweet. Guys, do you have anything else you wanted to talk about with regards to the Nissans?
I think that the Nissans have like a huge wide variety of choice.
Yep.
That's probably why only a handpicked few are usually notorious within the meta and the community. That
yeah.
there's just like a lot.
Sorry?
There's a lot, and that's probably because, well, Nissan in the past has made like a bunch of very unique and strong cars. That's possibly why it's like almost every game, like there's always a bunch of Nissans. Like take Gran Turismo for example. So even MD, it also shows this. But then everyone's just gonna stick to like a few cars, like that's because they know it best. Like a lot of the models that probably have never heard of, like a Laurel.
Yeah. I feel like with the Nissans, there's a lot of potential and a lot of room for personal growth with things like the Stagia. Like, despite the fact that it's a big car, it's a car that's impressive. It's got an R34 engine. It handles surprisingly well for a wagon, and it's essentially just an R34 clone. And I don't understand why no one picks this car more. I mean, the stats behind it aren't great in terms of time attacks, but that's because no one uses it. And until someone like Igor is gifted one of these and can show the potential on it, it's going to be one of those cars that it's going to be a trump card. In my honest opinion, if someone pulls one of these out, it's intimidating. I think it's intimidating.
Maybe no one uses it because it doesn't have white meter.
Well, I think if we had our friend DXMT say it's an amazing car, I'm sure his viewership will, pick it. But again, the R30 by David Meow single-handedly carried this car through its whole thing. He's probably one of the very few people that played this car, but plays it because he likes this car. So, C31, Stephen Mobile. There's really not much I can say other than it's cars. It's if you want a legacy, pick one of these Nissans that are not picked at all.
Z32.
Well, yeah, the Z32. No one's picked this car enough.
One turbine.
Oof. Well, yeah, the F1 turbine. But again, like, it's not a bad car. It's just neglected in a lot of senses. The S13. If someone started, like, Penta S-ing an S13, I'd be very scared.
Alan.
Oof. Oof. Oof.
Oh, is that what he wants to make next, an S13?
He wants to make a 110S that has 128 horsepower Penta S.
Wait, a 110S?
Yeah.
Why?
I think he gave up on the S130.
But he got so far ahead of it.
It was like, it's like S rank and he just gave up.
What? What? Did someone already Penta S it?
No.
Oh.
But like, I don't know, he just gave up.
Well then, that's disappointing. But yeah, there's a lot of legacies for people that are new to the game. That, you know, you can make your own sort of destiny with these cars. I mean, a lot of people know me for my GC8 and Evo 8. But, you know, that being said, you know, there are, you know, heaps of people out there that are, you know, the best ofs in this. So I know that Cell, he only plays with the GC8. Kevin only plays majority of his time with the Chaser. Ryan, I don't know what car you use because I've never played you, but you probably use a GVB.
Oh yeah. How'd you know?
But you know, you can carve out a lot of destiny with the Nissan, and especially because like stuff like the Z33 and the Z34 are so overlooked. If you become one of those users in your area, and you become skilled in those, yeah, you start building a legacy.
Yeah.
Who needs skill when Evo 9 exists? True.
Yeah.
Pardon?
The 180SX needs a main.
Well, yeah, I was actually thinking about using my full tune ticket for one now. It's a very real possibility because I want to get that time attack graph all the way down. So, like, it just needs some love. Like, yeah, it's unfortunate, but
It needs more legitimate time.
well, I'm an illegitimate person, so you know. Anyways, guys, we've got 7 minutes until the stream folds out, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask now. Ryan, do you have any other comments about the Nissans?
It's very reliable. Like it's reliable in the fact that like if you pick a Nissan, it's really hard to go wrong with it.
Yeah.
They all have like they all have like they're all decent cars overall.
Just looking.
Some maybe not. Yeah.
Just looking at it, there's probably, you know, very few tier 2 cars, to be honest. I mean, the Gloria, you know what? I don't see that. Oh, I don't see. There's very few tier 3 cars. There's a lot of tier 2 cars, very few tier 3s. You know, the worst Nissan. What do you reckon's the worst Nissan? That's a hard one.
370 Skyline.
No, I'd say it's the worst because it is my Indo data main. I've mained that car whenever I'm in Indonesia. But no, I don't think so. It's like the 370 GT is pretty much a mirror of the Zs, like the Z34, Z33.
So what do you reckon the
So
worst
it
is?
has that. I think we might just start with a 4-gear and just put the Gloria for now.
Yeah. I was thinking of the Fuga, just because it doesn't really fit anywhere and it's just massively big. But that being said, it has really good acceleration and boost from behind, so that's like, if you were gonna say, you know, is Nissan considered the worst manufacturer? Definitely not. Is Nissan considered one of the best manufacturers? Oh yeah. Nissan makes some great cars. And there's a reason why Nissan make great cars, because everything that comes out is quality.
So how about the Hakusuka?
The Hakasuka is probably not the worst. Definitely not the worst. It's probably the worst Skyline, but Skylines are a tier above a lot of other cars.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Maybe it's safe to just put out the Z31.
Z31. No, Gee. Sorry, Stephen.
I'll watch Steven doing the chat and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so definitely not a lot of... Yeah, look, I don't think you can go wrong. If you want to create a legacy, pick a Nissan. That's it. Just don't pick a Skyline, except... If you want... Actually, you know what? I want to see the Hakasuka come back. Because I feel like it needs a bit of love, and it has the potential to do really well, because it is a Skyline variant.
It's not a bad car.
Nah.
Did you hear that the Camry is also getting reviews in 6R?
The what?
The Camry Skyline.
No idea.
The successor
It's like
to the
another Skyline.
Oh. Yeah, no idea.
It's like the one between the David Meow and the Hakasuka.
Oh.
There was one other one.
Oh, wow.
It's like they had it like a, what do they call it, like a raffle kind of in Japan,
Ah.
like for like to pick a car. You know, it's like you get like tickets to vote every day, and I think the top three were Evo 7, S14, and like another Skyline.
Okay, cool.
The Camry. So the Evo 7 lost because only the top two got put into the game.
Ah. Oh, well.
Well, yeah, and people saying the Camry is a good car,
Okay.
which is
It is good or it's not?
generally negative.
Okay. Fair enough.
So we have to see how it compares to the Hakusuka
Yeah.
when we get the times and then access to it, perhaps.
Well, yeah, I think I'm going to have to get someone to pass me data for Saturday, because I'm going to be playing Maxi on Saturday. So I'm either going to continue to do Evo 10 stuff.
Laurel data.
Laurel.
And Gloria.
Maybe.
I know there's a Gloria user in Indo, some guy in MVI.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll ask around. But, you know, meh. Alright, so in terms of the next stream, what manufacturer should we go for? What do you reckon, guys?
There's so many.
Well,
I reckon.
I went Nissan because Nissans are pretty easy.
I reckon just cover Eurocars, because Eurocars are like.
Oh, I have no.
As a group.
Okay, so Eurocars as a group, I'll do them all in one, just because I have not used them. So I'm gonna need someone to pass me data for it, because I just simply don't have data on Eurocars. I can't comment. All I can do is just comment from a time attack perspective. I'm probably gonna go. I'm just looking at the Subarus now. I'm probably going to go Subaru. Because I've driven all these cars, except the B4 series. But I think they'll probably be the worst of the group. That being said, it would be interesting to see if there's any time attack data that's for that. So guys, I put it out to you. Do some time attacks for the Subarus if you have them. Because I'm definitely going to see if I can do some time attacks on the Subaru, but I'm assuming that people have done the GC8, so I'm going to go the GRB. And if anyone has a GVB, hint, pass it to me, because I want to do some time attacks in that. Steven has a little Vorg, but I'm not sure if he's full-tuned it.
He might have full-tuned it. Like, it was like at that time when MT6 was considered like hype.
Oh, he's got one, but I'm not sure if he's full tuned it now. Yeah,
I have not tuned my BL5 Legacy before, so that would have to be done. We probably need to find someone that has it ready.
Yeah.
I have the BM9.
Oh, do you? Awesome.
But it's 830, but I can full tune it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, well...
It's on JMac data.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, so I can lend it to you whenever.
Yeah, cool. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So I don't have anyone that has Nest. So I'll put the call out there, and I'll put some cards for that people can transfer stuff to. Duck has GVB, GDBC, GDBF, and GC8. So most of the Rexes. I haven't used the SVX, so that would be interesting to use. So later on tomorrow, I'm going to put a bunch of blank cards out there. So first come, first serve, to put their data to be featured on the stream. It needs to be full tune, otherwise it won't be featured, or it will be featured for like one race and I'll shit up on it. The BRZ, that won't have changed. That's a piece of crap. But yeah. Seriously, like, the car in real life's terrible. Like, it's such a meme car. Its second gear is just so, like, painful.
I am looking forward to the turbocharged model.
Yeah. The problem with the turbocharged model is that whilst it will spool quicker and the engine will obviously have more oomph, the gear ratios on that car is terrible. It's really bad. It's just, ugh. Although I'm excited to do the Toyotas. Like, I'm looking at them now and I'm looking at them going, ooh, there is a lot of potential in these, and a lot of, like, the MR2, for argument's sake, I'm looking to have a lot of fun in that car. That being said, I look at the Celsior and I'm like, oof, I already know what the review on what I'm going to say on that car is. And then the Sora, oof, like the boat machine, ugh. But we'll get that data, we'll put it on a spreadsheet, and then we'll see how we go. Anyways, let's dive off this, let's dive off this, topic of Nissan and open the forum up. Guys, do you have anything you want to talk about or anything you want to discuss?
Surely they have questions.
Does anyone have... No, I'm talking to you two, Kevin and Ryan.
There was some discussion about toxic Southeast Asian communities.
What do you mean?
Like, Southeast Asian gaming mentality.
What's that?
It's all about showing off, like, who's the bigger player, like just slamming the wheel just for show.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh well, it's kind of like an attitude that people have. It's like, oh, if you slam the wheel, it's like that shows how much better of a player you are.
Okay.
I have seen.
It's like being the dominant or like the alpha, you know, like you're stronger.
I can slam the wheel, therefore I am better.
Therefore I'm like alpha because I can slam harder than you. I'm stronger. Blah blah blah. I don't know, like some fucking caveman instinct.
Really?
I don't know. Fucking, they're weird people in fucking Southeast Asia.
Huh.
Yeah, I think the concept of face is very influential in places like Hong Kong. So I see so many like those internet arguments like with Snova.
Oh god.
Fucking Snova.
But then I don't think that much affects a lot here in Southeast Asia. Maybe a little bit because, well, the culture is quite commutual. But I'm not to the point where we would get in these sorts of fights, like all of this bickering.
Huh.
Yeah. Like Malaysia, the worst caps, period.
Wow. Wow. Okay, well, damn.
It's is playing the game so differently because everyone there is buying data and selling data, treating the cat with no respect, not expecting to find a great clean game. So I'm pretty sure no one does TA there as well.
Yeah,
Sad
it's
face.
like it's not nowhere near even Australia's standard.
Australia doesn't have a standard.
Nah, we got like Jimmy and Igor and DXMT.
Oh, really?
Top tier time attackers,
Top,
yeah.
top tier time attackers.
Yeah, DXMT, bro.
Oh god. Oh god. I looked at the time attacks for the GVB and I was like, oh god.
Nah, well, like Alan actually is the real life winner because he's actually like done time attack in real life.
Has that's just mean, man. Oh jeez. The shots just keep coming out, don't they?
Yeah, like, he's done time attack in real life, bro.
Oh my god.
Bro, CP1, bro, and he got caught.
Woof, turn around.
Turn around, reverse, fucking.
Oh god.
You know that red flash that you get like at certain parts of the map? That's what
Yeah.
happened.
Oh man.
Yeah, he got fucking flashed by the cops. Yeah, the fucking.
Oh. Get me out of this.
Thing says Indra.
You know what you should do, bro? You should invite Stitch for a weekend.
Nah, Stitch doesn't play anymore.
Nah, but just casually, like one day.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see how we go. I mean, the thing is that he works weekends, so it's very hard for him to do anything. Because he works at night, and that's when most of his like, that's where most of the money's made when you're a bouncer. Is obviously at night at clubs and shit. So he sleeps during the day.
Stitch one time in the city while going home because of my partners in the city. It caught me surprised. It was like, yes, he's still doing bouncer jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, real money.
And yeah, it sounds cool that we have a job as well in the airport.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, that too. So, oh my god. All right, well, if no one else has any comments, let's end it there, and I'll revise how to do the graphs and whatnot, and I might release versions of these later on. But thanks for everyone coming out and supporting me. If you can like, comment, subscribe, share, all the rest of it, that'd be really cool. So this is going to be a series of just reviews in terms of a whole general thing. And then once I do them all, I'll then redo the top 10, featuring, what I think are the top 10 cars. And then I'll make them into sort of different categories. So, there'll be top 10 cars that I think need, more love, or top 10 cars for time attack, which is pretty straightforward. Top 10 cars for underdogs, or for, all the rest of it. I don't know. I'll make categories. Feel free to suggest what you want to see, because I like reading the comments and going, oh, that's a really good idea, because I, didn't know that was a thing that people were looking for. But, yeah, I don't know what you guys want, and I don't know what you guys need. Tell me what you want, and I'll give you what you need. Until next time, Johnny!